The Avengers!
Hello YouTube, this is Hawkwing048 and I am currently on my 15th take of this because my god I cannot talk. This is my video on the case for Doctor Strange. And for those of you who haven't been watching the other ones, this is a video series I have started where I pretty much give my thoughts and ideas on how you could implement different characters into the Avengers game. So, with that being said, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this, and let's get started. So, first things first. We're going to talk about what kind of a character Doctor Strange is going to be. So, being the Sorcerer Supreme and a very powerful wizard, I don't see him being much of a close-range fighter. That being said, I'm not saying he'll have no close-range capabilities, but that won't be his specialty. I believe this character will be primarily a crowd-clearing character because of what we know and have seen him be able to do in not only the comics, but in games and in the movies. For his basic combat abilities, I'm thinking something along the lines of, for his close range fighting, he'll use the Mystic Sword. Now, I get to do something fun now and give a short demonstration on what that's going to be. And I will show that using the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 footage of him using Mystic Sword, so you get a basic idea from that, and I can expound from there. And I'm going to do that right here. Okay, so that's what his close range stuff will be. He'll have one or two basic, I can't say one or two combos, but his light attacks will be the Mystic Sword, because it's not incredibly powerful, but it's a good way to get people off you. It is a melee attack that is meant to knock enemies away so that he can focus on more ranged spells. His light attacks would be those. His heavy attacks will be basically different types of spells, such as you'll see, the Flames of the Faltine, and I believe I would also implement the Glyphs of Hala, which you will see both of those right about here. Now, as you can see with the Glyphs of Hala, they have some different characteristics. In Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they had two different versions of them. And what you would do is you would essentially set them up in different locations in the area and fire the projectile. And depending on what types of glyphs, you'll get a different projectile. Red glyphs basically just are meant to move it around, and yellow glyphs amplify the projectile. I think something similar to that with this game. I think with that you could set up trick shots, such as, say, you're fighting a particularly tanky enemy, right? One of the riot bots that always has its shield up. So you can put a glyph. Down, right? One of the red ones, and position him so that it's behind him. Fire the projectile, and it goes behind him, bounces off the glyph, comes up behind him, and staggers him so that you can it'll open him up to deal damage. And I think that would be the best way to handle that. Now, I think for his intrinsic ability, it'll focus on both spells and teleports. So, similar to how Hawkeye, has like the boomerang bow, and everyone has their own different kind of stuff with that. Like Kamala has her different polymorph abilities. Strange has unique spells mapped to square and triangle. I'm thinking for square, it might be the Flames of the Faltine, which you will see here. And I think triangle will be the green projectile that you fire off to use with the Glyphs of Hala. Because the triangle, that way all the stuff with the glyphs are mapped to the same button to help people who can't always remember that. It'll help them out, I think. And for his counter for attacks, it's a teleport. I think that'd be the best way. And it's essentially a version of the blink ability that Kate Bishop has. Same thing. So basically he would warp behind you and then use the Mystic Palm, which you will see here, to knock enemies away from him, because he doesn't want enemies near him. Strange is going to be meant as a ranged character primarily. If someone gets close, he's going to have a little bit of issues if they're tougher enemies. So he is going to not be tanky in the slightest. You don't want him close range. You want him to stay back, and you want him pelting. You want him constantly dealing damage. Think of him as the mage DPS in an MMO. That kind of concept. So, I'm thinking that the next thing would be his ranged attacks. This is where I've been having some fun ideas with that. Now, I think he should have 3, right? He should have the Daggers of Danak and the Bolts of Balthak as 2 of them, right? And you will see them here. Now, his third one will be summoning the spectral form of the Eye of Agamotto. Once you summon it, it will just follow an enemy. Or no, better yet, instead of it following an enemy, it just stays around Strange and fires projectiles of its own. So it's its own little mini summon. So so the idea would be to keep that thing up, and then while you're pelting, it's keeping enemies at bay, because its blasts will send enemies away from you. And I think those would be the most interesting way of handling his ranged attacks. And with that being said, let's get into heroics. This is where I've had some issues with figuring out what to do. Because, I mean, let's be honest. It's Doctor Strange. He's got so many different abilities, you know? This is a man who has literally a spell for every situation. He is the Sorcerer Supreme after all. So, with that being said, I think that for his assault heroic, it will be the Spell of Deshan, which you will see here. Basically a small geyser it's an AoE blast that knocks enemies into the air. I think that would be fun for his assault. His support one, unfortunately, nothing I have that I can currently access has this spell, but the bindings of Sidorak or Kydorak, whichever one you prefer. Basically, it is the spell you see him use against Thanos in Infinity War to hold him still. That maneuver. I think what he could do is he uses that, and he uses it on a decent sized area, similar to about the range of like Hawkeye's Nightstorm arrow. And any enemies within it have bindings come up from the ground and catch them and hold them still, and so they can't run. So say you're dealing with the loot bot, basically. You can pop that and freeze them in place, and attacking it will not knock the bindings off of them, so they're stuck. I think that would be fun. And for his ultimate, my thought was The spell he uses against Thanos, the duplication spell. I don't remember the name of it, but I'm thinking he creates a dozen of copies of himself, and they essentially pelt the area that you're aiming at with like hundreds of blasts from the bolts of Balthak, daggers of Knock, flames of the fall team, Eye of Agamotto, everything. Literally, you have it's an ult in which he creates duplicates that fire every spell he has. Now, I'm not saying they deal the same damage as they normally would, because that would be absurd, but I think that would be a really cool twist on that spell, because as we saw in Infinity War, he used it, and they used the bindings of Kydrack on Thanos. I think having as a swap where, like, say you're fighting the boss, right? They surround, like, you're fighting Abomination, and you just have, like, your teammate sees like 15 to 30, I haven't really been able to figure out what a fair number would be, of Doctor Stranges circling him, just pelting him for a solid 15 seconds. Wouldn't that look really fucking cool? Because I honestly think it would be. And for storyline reasons as to why he's here, why he would be popping up in Avengers, have him be looking for Mordo, because Mordo is trying to open up a portal to either Dormammu or Mephisto's realm. Honestly, no, we'll go with Mephisto, because we could set it for Ghost Rider with that, right? So Mordo is trying to open up a path to Mephisto's realm to make a deal with Mephisto. And we don't know what that deal is and why he's doing it. And so our objective is teaming up with Doctor Strange. Or no, the Avengers run into Mordo, and because it is a magic user, a area of expertise that none of them have, they seek out Doctor Strange, who has gone into hiding since A-Day. And he reluctantly, when he learns of what's happening, agrees to help them out. And when I say he goes into hiding, I don't mean he ran away from his duties. He actually has still been being the Sorcerer Supreme, but he's gone into hiding from the public so that no one knows where he is. And I think that would be a cool way to set up for more of the magical characters, such as maybe Clea eventually, or Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider, I definitely do want to get in this game eventually. But that would give us Mordo. That would give us the opportunity in the future to have Blackheart and Mephisto as bosses. Because imagine fighting Mephisto in this game with if you had a whole bunch of characters. So that's my thoughts on Doctor Strange. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as I said before, please leave a like, comment, and if you enjoyed it, subscribe. I really would appreciate that. The algorithm would too. As I said before, fuck the algorithm. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, and so the next video, just so you know, the next one of these more than likely will be a twofer. You will get a double helping of characters. So I'm looking forward to recording that, and I hope you guys are looking forward to seeing that. But with that being said, this is Hawkwing048, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.